It's opening night in New York City, and a curious and captivating group of young movie stars is working the red carpet.
Let's start that way and go this way.
They are the Angulo brothers, better known as the Wolfpack, and their tale of family, fortitude, and survival is told in a bold new documentary. It's brought them from isolation into the spotlight, a story truly stranger than fiction.
Back to the beginning.
Roughly 1 mile away and a universe away is where the secret history of the Wolfpack unfolded. In the gritty chaos of the Lower East Side for more than a decade, behind these windows, almost no one knew they existed. Locked away, unseen, unheard, unknown. This was their only view of the world. Their neighbors never saw them.
I've been here all my life. We didn't know they existed.
6 rooms, 6 brothers, 14 years locked inside with their mother by their father who kept them from the world, trapped in the confines of their tiny apartment.
If he put us in a room, we have to stay there until he says you can go.
With no friends and no freedom, the boys have just one escape, what would be their salvation: movies. Thousands of movies.
As far back as I can remember anything, like as far back as I can remember loving my mom, I remember movies. They were like a door into another world.
In many ways, movies saved your lives.
I think, in a way, movies, they shaped us who we are.
They memorized them, reenacted them.
We're gonna playground here.
Until one day, fantasy becomes reality.
It's now or never.
When life inside became too much to bear, and one son found the courage to break free.
My heart pounded so hard. I was like, there's no going back now.
Tonight, a story about the power of film, of imagination, and the Wolfpack's astonishing journey to freedom.
Good evening. This is a story so incredible it seems like something out of a movie. And as you just saw, it now is. That movie, The Wolfpack, opening today. And the secrets of those young brothers finally spilling out from that apartment. And for a while, Elizabeth was one of the only people allowed through that front door.
That's right, David. I really didn't know what to expect, but what I found was an intensely devoted band of brothers, one that had been kept so wary of strangers over the years that their only friends were essentially characters on a TV screen from the movies. But now everyone is going to know these boys and be inspired by their journey of survival and hope.
154 Broome Street. It's a public housing development, home to some 800 people. I am a rare visitor to one apartment on the 16th floor, where the Angulo family lives.
Come on in.
22-year-old Mukunda invites me in to show me the home that was his prison for 14 years. The apartment is 1,000 square feet. The largest space is this living room.
That's 2 of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is small.
The apartment home to 7 children and their mother Suzanne and their father Oscar. He had the only key to the front door, and only he could use it.
So this was always locked?
Always.
His father blocked the door with a tall ladder to keep intruders out and his wife and children in.
And when you lift the ladder, it'd make a loud so he would know if anyone was attempting to go out.
Oscar creates their own fortress of solitude. In these home videos, scenes of the strange world in which they lived. Part Hare Krishna, part paranoia, Oscar's own hermit kingdom.
So we had this idea of having a big group, like our own community, our own race here. It's almost like a tribe that you have.
Vishnu is the first child and only daughter, born with a rare genetic disorder. A year later came Bhagavan, and a year later, fraternal twins, Govinda and Narayana.
Where did they get these names?
They're Sanskrit, from the Sanskrit language.
Mukunda was born next, and then the 2 youngest, Krishna and Jagadish. At night, the young boys slept with Suzanne, piled on top of each other on mattresses. During the day, releasing their pent-up energy, dancing, bouncing, their entire childhood homeschooled by their mother. For the 6 boys, recess was roller skating indoors, back and forth in that tiny hallway. But the most important lesson every day, Oscar's rules. Number 1, the boy's hair was never cut.
He always encouraged us to have long hair.
When you have long hair, you are powerful. He was like, be a powerful person.
Rule number 2, stay inside.
What did he say would happen to you if you went outside?
He would say to us, so outside there's good people and there's bad people. That would always explain, you know, I'd like to keep you all here, protected.
Here, there were rules about what rooms they could enter. In the apartment, there's a kitchen, a bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and 3 more rooms. But as if 6 rooms for 9 people wasn't cramped enough, the children were forbidden from entering 2 of them. Mukunda says it stems from his father's fear. He banned the boys from rooms that shared walls with the neighbors.
He didn't want anyone to hear what we were doing or that we were laughing, or he basically didn't want anyone to know we were here.
That's why even one of the 2 bathrooms was off limits.
We weren't allowed to use this one, only this one.
And this one would just sit empty?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody used it?
Nobody used it.
Wow.
Narayana, one of the twins, says the restrictions were the most extreme for their mother.
She had the worst of it from all of us. She had more rules than we did. Any little thing that she did wrong she was like put on trial. I was very much a frightened person. We all were.
He would not treat her like a happy husband with a happy wife.
How did it come to this? Suzanne, who grew up in the farm fields of the Midwest, met Oscar in the exotic jungles of Peru, hiking to Machu Picchu.
He really thought and acted in a much bigger way than most people.
They married within months, living first in a Hare Krishna preserve, later in a van, having baby after baby. But when they ended up at the New York housing project, Oscar shut the door and pocketed the only key.
So you didn't argue, no, this is silly, we're overreacting.
At that time, I didn't have a lot of control about the choices that I made or could make.
Suzanne had no contact with her family. Her sisters say she left no trail, no address, no phone number.
We just felt there was no way of knowing. How do we find out? We had to hire a detective.
No one had seen her.
Suzanne was hiding in plain sight. Oscar didn't work, and the family survived on welfare and the money she earned from homeschooling. All her time was spent tending to her 7 children inside.
It must have been deeply painful to see your kids growing up
Well,
confined.
sometimes it was hard because I thought I wanted them to be out in the fresh air because that's what I did as a child. This isn't close to where I used to live.
The children's only view of the wonders of the world were through Suzanne's memories of the life she used to have.
I've been hiking in the Himalayas, so I used to talk a lot about that.
Every day I wish to be out in nature with my mom, learning about the web of life and the connection of everything.
When my children were younger, we would sit and look out the window, and I could compare it to the view on a mountaintop. Those big buildings might be other mountains. Instead of all the cars in the parking lot, there would be a big meadow there. It was kind of fun. It broke the monotony a little bit.
Oscar would grant rare outings with more rules. They were told where to look, how far to walk, and never to interact with strangers.
We would go out in the summers mostly because it was nice out.
So how many times a year would you go out?
Sometimes 5.
One?
One, and then, then 1 year, not at all. And then the winter came, and
we never went out in the winter.
The only freedom Oscar did allow, what would become the boys' one true escape, was movies.
How many hours a day would you watch these movies?
All day.
A whole day?
every day.
How many movies have you seen?
Let's just say over 10,000 movies.
You've seen over 10,000 movies?
Like, at least.
With no outside friends, no outside activities, it was total immersion, an obsession.
If I didn't have movies, life would be pretty boring.
It makes me feel like I'm living, sort of, because it's kind of magical.
Next, the power of imagination. The brothers sustaining life inside the walls, creating a world of their own by recreating the movies they love. until the day when that's no longer enough. And one brave brother decides it's time for his own great escape.
It's now or never. I'm gonna do it now.
Stay with us.